Alright, welcome back to the Burning Crusade. Right now, today I'm on my way to do the daily heroic, which happens to be the Auchenai Crypts. I am playing on a Burning Crusade private server, which explains the fact that I am a Night Elf in a group with a Tauren, Undead, Orc, and another Tauren. As I've previously said, the cross-faction grouping, I'm sure, was implemented in the beginning stages of the server to alleviate any issues regarding population and difficulty finding groups. With the length of time that this server's been around and the way the population has grown since its inception, I'm sure that it's not something that is completely necessary, but it still exists, and it makes life just much easier. And since I'm, pretty open-minded, I would not consider myself racist. I'm totally okay with having a cow, a green alien, and a zombie kill enemies with me. So yeah. Just flying into Auchenai right now to summon the group, unless there are people already there, which there are. Yep, this dungeon, couple bosses in here. It's not that bad. It's a little bit of the first boss is a little bit of a pain to heal, but luckily we have no. Ooh. I thought this was a druid. It is a shaman. So the second boss is gonna, or the first boss rather, is gonna be a little bit of a pain for us because of the cast time debuff that he applies to all party members. So we'll have to see how that goes. We've got a warrior tank, a rogue DPS, a fury warrior, shaman healer, and myself, a survival hunter. I will provide some pretty good utility to our rogue and warrior DPS while getting nothing in return. How selfless of me. I'm sure our shaman will drop Wind Fury, so again, no benefit to me, but yeah, I'm a team player. Our rogue is very eager to get killing, despite the fact that our healer and fury warrior have not zoned in. In fact, our fury warrior has not accepted his summons. I love people. Alright, well, our fury warrior seems to be undergeared, to say the least, but not by too much. My guess is with Wind Fury he'll probably pull 800 to 900 DPS, if not more. On a boss, that is. Our rogue much more than that, considering basically best in slot geared. I am going to be using my elixir of major agility for this. Considering I don't have a druid tank to give me additional crit chance. So I just want to make sure that my crit is as high as possible to give our rogue as much assistance as possible for DPS and our tank as much assistance as possible for threat. Your utility as a survival hunter is based on this debuff right here, Exposed Weakness. It applies a debuff to the target that increases the attack power of all targets against that target by 25% of my agility, I believe. So very good for our tank and any physical DPS we have in the group, which is all the DPS we have in the group. So our tank decided not to try and skip any of these mobs and just go head first into all of them, which I respect that. Great strategy. Lots of people questioning life right now. It is pretty early in the morning, which means I can almost guarantee that these people are European. It's one of the pros and cons of playing on a private server. A lot of times there's a language barrier, but it is interesting getting to play with people from all over the world. If I end up on cooldown, I'll just have to run to the tank. I am very interested to see how this first boss is going to go. Our healer seems to be pretty well geared for the most part. So that helps, but again, the cast time debuff is a real bitch. So really the only healers that can heal that first boss without much difficulty are druids. Priests do okay, but shamans and paladins really struggle. Paladins are by far the worst because they have no AoE healing whatsoever. Hopefully with chain heal shouldn't be too bad, but again, we'll see. Luckily we don't have any caster DPS, so at least we got that going for us. Our shaman is That's probably not gonna stop our tank from going ahead, who does not really seem to be sure on anything. That's all I've seen him say is question marks. Yep. You're dying because you decided to go in without a healer. That's what that feels like. I'm sure he used Last Stand, right? Yeah. figure I'd participate with the group chat. Warriors, probably definitely not my my first, would be my first pick for tank in this dungeon, but he's doing an okay job considering all the AoE trash, or all the massive pulls that we have. The non-elites that spawn in here can be a real pain. Annoying to tank. I was wrong, these are Koreans and not Europeans. So despite the fact that they are speaking in another language, it is good because it is almost a mandatory thing on this server that everyone speaks English, at least somewhat proficiently. So I mean, at least there's that. Do you want to Mars? Not exactly sure what Marsing is. Do I want to go to Mars? Is that what you meant? Or is there some activity that I don't know of called Marsing? Okay, gotta be real careful in here because of that. Right there. You walk over the because there are lots of exploding ghost things in this room that can just send you flying right off the side of the building, or off the side of this bridge here, into down into nothingness, the abyss that is the inside of Auchenai. Well, considering their body is down off somewhere in the abyss, man, it must have taken them forever to dig that. Wow. Anyway, yeah, considering the body is probably right about there. Yeah, you can see it. Gotta wait for them to run back. Netherblade face mask, what is that? Tier 4 or 5? Excuse me. Laughing and coughing at the same time. There was a time on this server where you could donate for credits which you could use to buy gear. You still can do that, but there are certain things that are no longer available. This was years ago. Now you can no longer buy Sunwell tier 6 gear and or legendaries, such as the Warglaives. So my guess is that either this is a legitimate Warglaive, or or he donated it a long time ago, at a time when that was a thing. Uh-oh. What are you dying to this time? Oh boy. It's not like we have anyone to go back and resurrect. Resurrect this shaman. Oh boy, Jesus Christ. What? At some point, I'd probably like to make a video addressing the pros and cons of playing on a private server, with respect to this one in particular. It does have its issues, but getting to play on my personal favorite expansion of all the expansions, with no time limit in regards to a future expansion, is really what does it for me, and that far outweighs any of the random buggy things that you run across. Playing what we on the private server community would call retail WoW, or the official Blizzard World of Warcraft. If you want to stay competitive, you always feel this pressure to be at the top tier, spend as much time farming and getting gear and staying at the top of the curve at all times in order to get the most out of the game. Feel like you're paying to work almost, just to stay ahead, and so that you can actually experience all the content. And I'm not talking about Raid Finder. I mean serious progression rating. But yeah, with the private server, I've been playing here for 4 or 5 years, I think. And yeah, I've gotten to experience just about every raid. I can make as many different classes as I want. Right now I have, I think, 7 or 8 level 70s, all with pretty decent gear. And again, I've done that over the course of 4 or 5 years, so when I started playing on this server, I think Mists of Pandaria had either just come out or was about to come out. And at this point, we're about halfway through Legion, I think. Halfway or a third of the way through Legion. So, just all that time dedicated to one expansion really lets you experience everything the game has to offer, and not just try to rush through everything so you can stay at the top.
I don't have a target.
And say you get bored, say you don't want to play it anymore, well, it's not like you've wasted any money, and you can come back whenever you want. Alright, here we are at Shirok the Dead Watcher, the first boss. As you can see, I've already got this stacking cast time debuff, which doesn't affect me too much as a hunter, but it is going to be pretty gnarly for our healer to keep the group up. As you can tell, I've already got people dropping and dying, and doesn't look like there's much hope of getting them up, at least while this boss is still alive. But that's okay, because I've got to move out of the AoE thing. Low health on this boss, not that hard to kill. It's the it's just a matter of killing him before the healer runs out of mana and the healer runs out of time to heal everybody and everyone dies. We did lose our Rogue and Fury DPS, most likely because they did not move out of the AoE. But again, it could have just been from other sources of damage that the Shaman wasn't able to heal due to the fact that it probably took 6 or 8 seconds to cast a chain heal. But we killed it in one shot. So ugly but a kill, I suppose. Oh, I'm in combat. I guess you're just gonna have to stay content. Excuse me. I wonder if this is a good idea. Probably not. But luckily I've got a Fury Warrior and a Rogue to pull aggro off me. Good. Yep, AoE DPS as a hunter really isn't that great. So in situations like that, it's almost guaranteed that I'm going to pull aggro because I have to continue. I have to continue to do single target damage. Meanwhile, the tank's struggling just to keep everything under control. Oh, please, Pat, don't pull anything. We definitely need to pull these, otherwise I'm gonna do it accidentally. Alright, I have to move strategically because I don't think he's gonna pull it. I'm actually just gonna dismiss my pet to walk around this corner. Such a pain. God damn it. And I pulled anyway.
I can't do that.
think every time I go around that corner, or try to go around that corner, I aggro that whole pack. You should learn buy now and sell now. What does that mean? Can't you just keep talking in Korean?
I don't have a target.
It's okay, I'll just kill you with my axe. I got no problem with that.
I need to target.
I'm gonna let all my pet do my work. Just kind of stand here. And here we have arrived
The resting place of our ancestors. For this
at the
offense,
final boss,
there can be but one punishment.
Exar.
It is fitting
Malachar.
that there's no turning back now, for you will soon be joining them.
Probably get my right aspect on. Blow my cooldowns. I don't think Bloodlust is up, so.
My fallen brothers, take forth
And part 2 of the boss, which is the Avatar of the Martyred. Why? Why did you have to do that? It's fine, I suppose.
I don't have a target.
I mean, you could have waited. But that's okay. There we go, there's my daily item. My Hearthstone is up, so I don't have to tempt these Horde by leaving the party and sitting here for a full minute while they debate whether or not to kill me, especially with this rogue. I don't want to do that. Let's thank them and then leave. Alright. Thank you for joining me again, if you did. If not, thank you myself for keeping me company. I always enjoy talking to myself. Alright, goodbye.